Have you ever wondered if a loved one who has passed away is truly at peace? If, somehow, they still manage to be present in your life, sending subtle signals or providing comfort in the quietest moments? Longing is one of the most profound experiences we can feel, and the desire to know if those we love are still well after death is something that touches us all intimately and often unexpectedly intensely. Perhaps you've noticed small coincidences, vivid dreams, or feelings you can't explain, but that seem to come from someone who is no longer physically by your side. Stay with me until the end, because what you'll discover now may transform how you understand the presence of those who have passed and bring a sense of relief and hope you might not have imagined possible. For decades, Emmanuel, a spirit friend of Chico Xavier, has left us profound teachings about life after death, showing that our loved ones remain close even when we cannot see them with our physical eyes. He guides us to pay closer attention to the subtle signs that may indicate that those we love are well, at peace, and protecting us in ways that often go unnoticed. It's fascinating to see how spiritual messages, psychography, and philosophical reflections can come together to offer us comfort and answers that reason alone would be unlikely to provide. Have you ever felt like something or someone is trying to communicate with you, but you don't know exactly how to interpret it? If so, know that this experience is more common than you might think. And Emmanuel's teachings can be a compass to understand these manifestations with greater clarity and sensitivity. What makes it all even more extraordinary is that these signs don't appear randomly. They carry a purpose, an intention to convey peace, love, and hope. Spiritual communication often occurs in the most unexpected moments, through dreams, intuitions, or even small everyday events that seem to have greater meaning. And this is precisely where attention and perception come in as fundamental tools for those who wish to feel this presence. Throughout this video, you will discover how to identify these messages and signs in a practical and conscious way. Understanding what Emmanuel taught us about the continuity of life and the importance of maintaining a living spiritual connection. With those who have passed, imagine being able to recognize when a loved one is truly at peace, feeling that they are close to you even without words, and realizing that each sign has a profound meaning. This is a transformative experience that not only comforts the heart, but also changes the way we view life and death itself. And even though, at first, it may seem difficult to distinguish between simple coincidences and spiritual manifestations, as you learn to interpret these messages carefully, you begin to perceive a fine but clear line between the physical and spiritual worlds. So, if you've ever felt this indescribable longing and found yourself longing for signs that the departed one is okay, know that the next few minutes will be precious. What you'll discover now may surprise you, bringing not only answers, but also a sense of closeness and comfort that transcends any rational understanding. Stay with me, because we're just beginning to unravel how Emmanuel, through his messages and teachings, teaches us to perceive the peace and well-being of our loved ones who have passed on from the physical plane, and the importance of understanding that true love lives on, regardless of the distance that death imposes. Have you ever felt an inexplicable presence? A sudden sense that someone you love is near, even though you know they're no longer on this physical plane? Perhaps it was a familiar scent that appeared out of nowhere, a dream so vivid it felt real, or even a strong intuition that directed you to something unexpected. These moments may seem coincidental, but according to Emmanuel's teachings, they are subtle signs of spiritual communication, ways in which our departed loved ones remain close, caring and comforting us in ways we can't always comprehend at first glance. Stay with me until the end, because what you discover now may surprise you and bring a new perspective on the presence of those we love. Emmanuel, a spirit friend of Chico Xavier, always emphasized that life does not end with the death of the physical body. He teaches us that spirits who have already left this world retain their consciousness and can interact with us in subtle, almost imperceptible, yet extremely meaningful ways. One of the most common examples he shared involves dreams. Many people report dreaming about a loved one who has passed away, and in these dreams, they receive clear messages, advice, or simply comfort. It's as if the barrier between the physical and spiritual worlds becomes momentarily thinner, allowing the spirit's presence to manifest itself in a welcoming and loving way. Have you ever experienced this? Waking up with the feeling that someone visited you while you were sleeping? This experience, according to Emmanuel, is not just a figment of the imagination. It is a form of communication that carries purpose and meaning. Beyond dreams, there are physical and emotional sensations. A sudden shiver, a light breeze at an unexpected moment, a feeling of warmth or peace that arises for no apparent reason, can be manifestations of the spirit seeking to make itself felt. Many reports confirm that in these moments, feelings of love and protection are deeply felt, as if the loved one were saying, "I'm fine, and I continue to care for you." These are small signs, almost imperceptible, but loaded with meaning. It's no coincidence. It's the affection of those who continue to accompany our journey. Even far from the physical plane, unexpected coincidences can also be powerful signs. Finding objects that remind us of a loved one, hearing songs that had special meaning, or receiving unexpected news often bring comfort and confirm the presence of a watchful and attentive presence. Emmanuel teaches us that these manifestations are not mere accidents, but messages filled with love meant to comfort and guide. It's fascinating to see how spirituality manifests itself in the details of everyday life, reminding us that death does not erase the bonds of affection and that our loved ones remain connected to us. In a deep and sensitive way, throughout this video, you'll learn how to identify these messages and signs, learning to listen carefully and perceive what Emmanuel called the language of the spirit, made up of subtleties, emotions, and small coincidences that carry meaning. Imagine understanding each sign, each intuition, or dream not as something random, but as a concrete way to reconnect with the one you love. Stay with me, because we're about to delve into this universe of spiritual manifestations, and you'll discover that the love and presence of the departed can be felt in a real, continuous, and deeply comforting way. Have you ever felt that deep doubt? After receiving a sign or intuition, whether it really came from a loved one who has passed away, or if it was just your own desire to believe they are okay? It's a confusing yet intense feeling that touches our hearts deeply and awakens curiosity about the spiritual world. We've all, at some point, found ourselves longing for signs, seeking comfort, trying to feel that those we love are still present in some way. Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to discover now can completely transform the way you interpret these messages and bring a sense of connection you might never have imagined possible. Emmanuel, a spirit friend of Chico Xavier, taught us that distinguishing the true signs of spiritual presence from those born merely from our desire for consolation requires attention, sensitivity, and a little practice. He emphasized that spirituality does not manifest itself dramatically or forcefully. On the contrary, the signs are subtle, harmonious, and imbued with a sense of peace. A comforting dream, a sudden intuition, a heartwarming coincidence, all of these, when true, convey serenity, clarity, and an energy different from the anxiety we feel when we simply want to believe everything is fine. Have you ever experienced this, feeling that something is real but unable to be certain? This perception, when we learn to cultivate it, becomes a true compass for the soul. To interpret these messages wisely, Emmanuel recommends paying attention to some important details. First, the feeling that arises within us. If there is fear, anguish, or doubt, it is likely more a reflection of our desires and longing than a true signal. But when we feel calm, love, and comfort, even in the face of longing, this is a strong indication that the communication is coming from the spirit. Furthermore, the context of the signal is also crucial, if it appears coherently, connecting naturally with your life and bringing teachings or guidance. The chance of it being an authentic spiritual manifestation increases significantly. Small details, such as the repetition of signals or the emotional harmony they provide, help differentiate between what arises in our mind and comes from the spiritual realm. In a world so fast-paced and full of loss, understanding these signs helps us better cope with longing, bringing deep peace to our hearts. It's as if each manifestation, each dream, intuition, or coincidence is a bridge, connecting us to those who have passed away, allowing us to feel that true love does not end with death. Imagine receiving a message of reassurance amidst the chaos, a moment of certainty that your loved one is at peace, that they continue to care for you from afar. This understanding transforms the way we experience longing and gives us tools to perceive spirituality in a practical and emotionally healthy way. People often feel they need grand signs or extraordinary experiences to confirm the presence of a spirit. But Emmanuel reminds us that true spiritual communication happens in the simplest, most everyday details. A sudden thought, a feeling of closeness, a small coincidence that touches the heart. All these signs, when interpreted with attention and serenity, reveal the presence of the departed and comfort us with their continuity. And most importantly, correctly interpreting these signs not only brings comfort but teaches us to live better, to appreciate each moment, and to maintain a living connection with spirituality. Stay with me, because we are about to delve deeper into this universe of spiritual signs and messages, learning to recognize each nuance and perceive how Emmanuel guides us to understand the presence of our loved ones in a clear, loving, and transformative way. Even amidst the routine and difficulties of everyday life, have you ever wondered how our departed loved ones continue their journey? Even out of sight, and how we can feel that they are well, evolving and learning. Often, when dealing with longing and the pain of loss, we wonder if we are being left behind or if there is still a way to connect with those we love. Stay with me until the end, because what you will discover now can transform the way you view life, death, and the deep bond that unites us with those who have passed. Emmanuel, a spirit friend of Chico Xavier, has always taught us about spiritual well-being, showing us that our loved ones continue to grow, learn, and care for us. Even after passing to the spiritual plane, according to Emmanuel, death is not the end, but a gateway to new opportunities for evolution. Each spirit continues its journey of learning, experiencing serenity, learning, and responsibility for their choices. This means that those we love do not remain static. They continue their evolution, and it is this continuity that assures us that they are at peace. Their care for us, though invisible, is constant and full of love. Have you ever experienced moments when you felt unexpected comfort, as if someone were there silently protecting you? These moments are small reflections of what Emmanuel describes, signs that the love we feel and receive transcends the physical plane and remains active in our daily lives. When we begin to understand that our loved ones are well, in harmony with their spiritual evolution, we learn to look at life with more serenity. Longing, which might once have been painful, also becomes a reminder of their ongoing love and subtle presence in our thoughts, dreams, and intuitions. Emmanuel invites us to perceive these manifestations with attention and gratitude, understanding that each sign of spiritual closeness carries with it important lessons about love, patience, and trust in the soul's journey. It's not just about feeling that they are well. It's about allowing this realization to transform the way we live, reducing the fear of death and increasing the awareness that life is a cycle of learning and connection. Applying these teachings to our daily lives is more profound than we imagine, by recognizing that our loved ones continue their evolution and are at peace. We begin to live with greater ease, less fear, and more love. Every gesture, every memory, and even every intuition can be seen as an invitation to appreciate the present, cultivate relationships, and practice gratitude for those who are still by our side. Whether physically or spiritually, Emmanuel emphasizes that the serenity and spiritual well-being of our loved ones directly reflects our own emotional balance, offering comfort and inspiration to face life's challenges with greater faith and hope. This realization allows us to transform the pain of loss into learning, understanding that death does not extinguish emotional bonds, but elevates them to a dimension of care, evolution, and continuous love. By feeling this presence, we learn to live better, to love more deeply, and to cherish every moment, every gesture, and every connection with those who have passed. Stay with me, because we are about to explore even more deeply how these lessons from Emmanuel can be applied to our lives, revealing a form of spirituality that connects us in a real and transformative way with those we love, bringing peace, hope, and a new understanding of the soul's continuity. If this topic resonates with you, leave a comment below about what has touched you most so far, that feeling of closeness with a loved one, or perhaps a moment when you felt something you couldn't explain. Sharing your experiences is not only a way to connect with others going through similar situations, but it also helps create a space for support, reflection, and mutual learning. Your participation here is what makes this channel grow and reach more people with this type of content, bringing comfort, hope, and spiritual teachings that can transform lives. And if you feel these reflections are valuable to you, click like, because each like is not just a simple gesture, but a sign that we are building together a community that believes in the continuity of life, the presence of loved ones, and the importance of understanding spirituality in a practical and affectionate way. By liking you, help this video reach more hearts, also seeking answers, comfort, and connection with those they love. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, now's the perfect time. By subscribing, you ensure you won't miss future content featuring profound messages from Emmanuel, reflections on life after death, and signs that our loved ones are still present, evolving, and caring for us. Each new subscription strengthens the possibility of sharing these experiences with more people, creating a chain of empathy, learning, and hope. So, comment, like, and subscribe, not just as a gesture, but as an act of active participation in this journey of discovery, understanding, and spiritual connection. Because what we're building together goes far beyond the video ITA as a space for exchange, acceptance, and growth, and now remaining in this same feeling of presence and learning. We will continue exploring how these lessons from Emmanuel manifest themselves in our daily lives and how we can perceive, with attention and serenity, the signs that reveal that our loved ones are well and at peace. ... Have you ever felt that tightness in your chest? That moment when longing seems almost physical, and wondered if your departed loved one is truly at peace? If, somehow, they remain close, watching and caring for you, even without you being able to see or hear them. It's a complex feeling, a mix of love and emptiness, that all of us who have lost someone know well. Sometimes life seems to move on, and we are left with doubts, memories, and recollections that accompany us silently. But what if I told you that there are subtle but powerful signs that can reveal the presence of someone who is no longer physically present, and that these signs carry with them valuable lessons about the continuity of life, about evolution, and about love that transcends death? Stay with me, because what you're about to discover now could completely change the way you perceive the reality around you, and even your mindset about longing life and spiritual connection. Emmanuel, a spirit friend of Chico Xavier, brought us profound teachings about how our loved ones remain close, even after passing into the spiritual realm. He reminds us that life doesn't end with the death of the physical body, that consciousness continues its journey, learning, evolving, and, above all, maintaining a bond of love that never ends. This knowledge brings a silent transformation, a shift in perception that goes beyond fear and sadness. It is the understanding that there is a hidden truth, a dimension of care and protection that we often fail to perceive, but that operates behind the scenes of our lives. Emmanuel teaches us to be attentive, to perceive signs, intuitions, unexpected coincidences, dreams that seem to bring messages and sensations that penetrate the veil of the physical world, all as a form of connection and demonstration of love. Have you ever experienced this? Feeling that something or someone was trying to communicate with you, but unable to understand exactly how? These signs may be subtle, almost imperceptible, but when we look closely, they reveal a silent intelligence, a constant presence that guides and comforts us. A vivid dream, a memory that emerges with intensity, a song that plays at just the right moment, or even a sudden intuition that leads us to make an important decision. All of this can be interpreted as a contact between the spirit and someone still living on the physical plane. And believe me, it's not just a coincidence. It's the manifestation of ongoing care, a love that remains attentive to details, to our choices, to our emotions. The way we perceive these signs requires attention, sensitivity, and an openness to what is subtle yet profound. It's as if there exists a language of its own, a silent language of the spirit, made of feelings, energy, and messages that touch the heart directly. The most interesting thing is that these signs don't have to be extraordinary to have a profound impact. Often they emerge in small things, that perfume that reminds us of someone we love, a feeling of warmth in a moment of sadness, or a moment of clarity when we realize that everything is okay. Emmanuel always emphasized that the evolution of the spirit also manifests itself in the way it comforts us, sends us signals, and helps us perceive the continuity of life. Every detail we notice, every meaningful coincidence, is part of a learning process, a revelation that connects us not only to the spirit we love, but also to our own inner journey. This connection helps us cope with the pain of loss in a transformative way. Instead of simply missing someone, we can understand that that love remains active. There's a presence that guides, protects, and inspires us. The impact of this on our daily lives is profound. We realize that important decisions, moments of reflection, and even changes in mindset can be influenced by this subtle energy that surrounds us, allowing us to act with greater serenity, empathy, and awareness. Every sign, every intuition, every meaningful dream is a reminder that life and evolution do not end with the death of the body, but continue in a dimension that we cannot always see, but which we can feel deeply. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this topic, exploring how these signs can be interpreted wisely, how we can distinguish what stems from our desire for comfort from what is a true manifestation of the spirit, and how this awareness can transform the way we relate to longing, our emotions, and even the decisions we make daily. By understanding these signs and recognizing the care of our loved ones, we begin to perceive a positive impact on our lives, a hidden truth that allows us to move forward on our journey with greater lightness, gratitude, and hope. Comment there. I'm on this journey too. Have you ever stopped to think about the many subtle signs that can go unnoticed in our daily lives, but which carry a profound message from someone who has passed? Perhaps it was a particularly vivid dream, where the presence of a loved one seems so real that you still feel the warmth of that moment even after waking, or that sudden intuition that arises at crucial moments, guiding a decision without you being able to rationally explain it. Emmanuel, a spirit friend of Chico Xavier, always taught us that these signs are forms of communication from the spiritual plane, ways in which our loved ones continue to care for us, even when invisible to the physical eye. It's no coincidence. It's the affection of those who remain close, a manifestation of love that transcends the barrier between the material world and the spiritual dimension. Stay with me, because what you're about to discover now could transform your perception of life, death, and the way you connect with those who have passed. These manifestations are more common than you might think, and often appear in the simplest details of our daily lives. It could be the sound of a song you used to listen to together, a sudden sense of peace in a moment of anguish, or even an object that manifests unexpectedly, bringing back memories and emotions that seem to come from another dimension. It's as if spirits have their own language, made of subtleties, energy, and coincidences charged with meaning. And Emmanuel always emphasized that paying attention to these signs is essential. Perceiving them requires sensitivity, a closer look at everyday details, and the openness to see beyond what meets the eye. Have you ever felt like something or someone was trying to communicate with you but weren't sure how to interpret it? This feeling, when understood, can be a true gateway to inner transformation, altering your mindset and the way you deal with longing, loss, and even important life decisions. One example Emmanuel often mentioned is dreams. Many people report that in dreams, their loved ones send them messages of comfort or advice. A deceased father, mother, sibling, or friend may appear with words, gestures, or even a simple sense of presence which lifts the heart. These dreams are not merely the fruit of memories or a desire for comfort. They are real channels of communication, crossing the barriers of the physical world and offering subtle guidance. Another common sign is intuition or premonitions, those ideas that emerge out of nowhere and make us act differently, protecting us or directing us toward better choices. These manifestations may seem small or even trivial, but they carry a profound impact, often revealing hidden truths and showing how life continues to guide us through spiritual presence. And we can't forget the unexpected coincidences, those situations that make us feel like something bigger is at work. Finding an object that belonged to someone who passed away, hearing a phrase that echoes a special memory, or feeling a gentle breeze in a moment of sadness can be more than mere coincidence. Emmanuel teaches us that these events are signs of constant attention and silent care, a loving energy that works behind the scenes of our lives, offering comfort and security even when everything seems uncertain. It's fascinating to see how these manifestations appear in subtle ways, but with an emotional and spiritual impact that can be transformative. Paying attention to these signs and interpreting them sensitively helps us understand that our loved ones remain active in our journey. Every dream, every feeling, every unexpected coincidence is a piece of a larger puzzle, allowing us to feel their presence and reminding us that true love does not end with death. By noticing these signs, we also learn to look at our own lives with greater care, awareness, and gratitude, understanding that there is an invisible force that guides, protects, and offers us lessons in subtle but consistent ways. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this topic, exploring how to differentiate between signals that stem from a desire to see everything as good and genuine spiritual communication, and how this awareness can transform our mindset, our decisions, and the way we interpret everyday events. By understanding the language of the Spirit and the intention behind each manifestation, we begin to see life differently, perceiving the hidden truth revealed in details, coincidences, and dreams, and understanding the real impact this ongoing presence has on our emotional and spiritual journey. Comment there. That makes sense to me. Have you ever noticed how often our hearts want to believe in signs that comfort us, even if they are merely projections of our deepest desires? That intense longing, that desire to feel that all is well with the departed, can lead us to interpret any coincidence as a spiritual message. It's natural and human to desire this connection. But Emmanuel, a spirit friend of Chico Xavier, reminds us that understanding the difference between what springs from our hearts and what truly comes from the spiritual realm requires attention, perception, and an open mind capable of perceiving nuances that go beyond appearances. True communication from the Spirit doesn't arrive as a scream or a dramatic spectacle. It manifests harmoniously, charged with serenity, love, and a sense of peace that touches the heart deeply, without causing confusion or anxiety. Stay with me, because what you're about to discover now can completely change the way you interpret each sign and transform your perception of life, death, and the evolution of the soul. Emmanuel teaches us that genuine signs always convey harmony. A comforting dream, a clear intuition, or an unexpected coincidence, when truly coming from a loved one, bring a sense of lightness and balance, never fear or despair. Observe how you feel when receiving this type of message. If there is serenity, a subtle understanding of what is being conveyed, and even guidance that seems to directly impact your life or decisions, then you are likely experiencing genuine communication from the Spirit. Signs born solely from a desire for comfort tend to be more confusing, fraught with anxiety, urgency, or exaggerated expectations, which often reflect the human mind more than spiritual presence. This distinction is crucial because it allows us to understand the hidden truth behind the messages and, with it, cultivate a more conscious light and transformative journey. Another important point is context. Spiritual signs don't appear in isolation. They connect to your life, your emotions, and your needs in a coherent way. Emmanuel often emphasized that spirituality manifests itself behind the scenes of our daily lives, discreetly, but with a real impact. It could be a dream that appears at the right moment, an intuition that influences an important decision, or even a small event that sparks a profound insight. These signs are not separate from your reality. They interact with it, offering a kind of silent guidance, helping you make decisions more aligned with what is true and necessary for your journey. With attention and openness, you begin to realize that the impact of these signs is not only emotional, but also mental and spiritual, revealing how every detail of life can carry learning, inspiration, and growth. The practice of observing and interpreting these messages wisely requires patience and self-knowledge. It's necessary to reflect on the feelings that arise, paying attention to the body's reactions and the emotions that accompany each intuition or coincidence. Often the spirit's presence reveals itself in small gestures that seem trivial, but which have profound meaning when analyzed carefully. Emmanuel teaches us to value these signs because they are opportunities for growth, for transformation of the mind and heart, and also for strengthening our connection with the departed. This awareness helps us cope with longing, bringing comfort, serenity, and a new understanding of love that doesn't end with death, but remains active, continuous, and evolving in a world so fast-paced and full of loss. Understanding the difference between genuine signals and projections of human desire offers us a silent advantage. It allows us to act with greater clarity in our decisions, perceive the hidden truth behind seemingly random events, and develop a mindset more aligned with serenity and balance. The wise interpretation of these signals gives us tools to transform the pain of longing into learning, to perceive the presence of those we love in a real, profound, and positive way, and to understand that life, even in the face of death, continues to offer revelations and opportunities for connection. The harmony we feel when identifying a genuine message is not just emotional comfort. It is a transformative impact that can guide our actions, strengthen our hearts, and open pathways to a deeper perception of the spiritual world and the energies that surround us. Now, to delve even deeper into this subject, exploring how this perception can influence our decisions, change our mindset, and reveal truths that often go unnoticed, showing how each sign, each intuition, and each meaningful dream is part of a larger journey that connects our everyday world to the backstage of the spiritual plane and invites us to experience life with greater awareness, serenity, and love. Right there. I'm on this journey too. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to feel certain that those we love, even after passing into the spiritual realm, continue to evolve, learn, and care for us in ways we often fail to perceive? This reflection, which Emmanuel shared repeatedly with Chico Xavier, offers us a transformative perspective on life and death, showing that spiritual well-being is not just an abstract concept, but a real, ongoing, and deeply comforting experience. The evolution of the soul, according to Emmanuel, does not end with the death of the physical body. It continues silently and steadily on a journey of learning, serenity, connection that extends far beyond what the eye can see. And it is precisely this vision that allows us to transform the pain of longing into understanding, and uncertainty into gratitude and hope. When we realize that our loved ones are at peace, that they are learning, growing, and developing spiritually, something shifts within us. Our mindset transforms, and so does the way we face life's challenges. We come to understand that death is not an endpoint, but a transition, a portal that allows the soul to continue its journey harmoniously, learning lessons, gaining experiences, and, at the same time, maintaining a loving bond with those still in the physical plane. This hidden truth offers us comfort, but it also challenges us to reflect on our own choices and how we can live more consciously, aligned with the principles of love, compassion, and evolution that Emmanuel so emphasized. The impact of this understanding on daily life is profound. When we know our loved ones are well and evolving, we begin to make decisions with greater serenity and emotional balance. The anxiety that often arises when faced with loss or longing diminishes because we understand that life goes on, that love does not end with death, and that there is a spiritual intelligence watching over everything behind the scenes. Emmanuel teaches us that this perception transforms our inner journey, altering our mindset, our habits, and even the way we relate to others. Gratitude, empathy, and hope become powerful tools for dealing with everyday challenges. Because every gesture of affection, every loving memory, and every sign of spiritual presence connects us to a greater energy that guides our decisions and shows us the direction of a fuller and more balanced life. Interestingly, this understanding also allows us to see details previously unnoticed, small signs of care, subtle gestures of protection, and intuitions that arise unexpectedly begin to be interpreted with care and meaning. Emmanuel reminds us that our loved ones remain present behind the scenes of our existence, guiding, comforting, and even offering lessons in spiritual evolution. This awareness creates a silent but constant impact on our journey. We begin to realize that every difficult moment can be softened by the understanding that we are not alone, that there is a continuity of love and care that spans dimensions, and that every decision we make can be influenced by this invisible yet real energy. Furthermore, understanding the spiritual well-being of those who have passed on helps us better cope with the fear of death, our own finitude. When we feel the presence and evolution of our loved ones, we learn to live more lightly, less hurriedly, and with more attention to what truly matters. The serenity that arises from this perception allows us to appreciate each moment, value relationships, reflect on our own actions, and develop a mindset of continuous growth, based on the understanding that life is a journey full of transformations, revelations, and learning opportunities. Emmanuel emphasized that this connection not only comforts, but transforms, because it inspires us to live more aligned with love, gratitude, and hope. The practical application of this teaching in everyday life is simpler than it seems, but it requires attention and emotional openness. Every positive thought directed toward a loved one, every loving memory, every gesture of gratitude become bridges that strengthen the connection and reinforce the feeling of peace and evolution. This positive energy reverberates in our decisions, influences how we deal with problems, and helps us realize that life is a continuous cycle of learning and care. When we understand that our loved ones are well, we also learn to live better, with more love and less fear of death. And this understanding guides us on our own journey of evolution and self-discovery. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this topic, exploring how this perception of spiritual well-being isn't just emotional comfort, but an opportunity for real transformation, capable of influencing our decisions, our mindset, and even the way we relate to life and those around us. By understanding the continual presence and silent care of spirits, we begin to see previously hidden revelations, perceive the truth that manifests in the simplest details, and discover the profound impact this awareness can have on our journey, both emotional and spiritual. Right there, I'm on this journey too. If you've made it this far, I want to thank you for following every reflection and detail of this journey. If this content brought you any meaning, some light, or simply made you feel more connected to those you love, subscribe to the channel to continue following these messages and lessons that help transform our way of seeing life, death, and the evolution of the soul. And leave a simple phrase in the comments, like "I'm with you until the end, so I know you were present in every moment of this video, and that these reflections touched your heart in some way." If you felt this connection, please also like the video. It's a sign that we're building this space of learning, hope, and serenity together, and each gesture helps strengthen the energy we're creating here. And there's a video right here that complements this topic in a very interesting way, showing even more signs, messages, and reflections that can transform your perception. Click and stay with me there, because the journey of discovery and understanding of the spiritual plane is ongoing. And each insight you absorb adds to this personal transformation and the feeling of presence of those we love.